Hello, ladies and gents. We are going to be reading a story this week that's pretty funny and pretty sarcastic. It is a story called Dear Mr. Winston, and I think that you guys will like it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm making my vocabulary diamond, and so you can watch this in case you don't have your own diamond if you're absent. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my pen and I'm going to put the lines on here. So in this story, it explores what it means to be sorry or what it means to apologize. And it's kind of an interesting story because sometimes we apologize for things and we aren't really sorry, but we apologize anyway to be polite. And this story is an example of someone apologizing when she really isn't sorry at all. And it's very clear that she's not sorry. And so it's kind of funny because we've all apologized for things in our lives and have not actually been sorry. So let's see. I'm just putting X's in all of the boxes, as you know. This is our 9th vocabulary diamond. So I'm hoping that you are getting the hang of how to do this so that I can stop giving you videos of how to do it and so that you can start looking up the words because that makes it more fun and challenging. So I'm putting in my synonym lines. I'm getting pen. This is kind of a sticky pen. Sorry, getting smudgy pen everywhere. I'm going to do the backside as well because we always have 8 words. I used to start out kind of slow. We would have 4 words, and then we'd move to 6 words, and then we'd move to 8 words, and then we'd wait, and then we'd move to synonyms, and then we'd do antonyms. But I've just kind of decided that 4th graders can handle it. You guys can handle having 8 words. And you also can handle synonyms. All right, so here we go. Put in our synonym lines. All right, we're ready to start our first word. So I'm going to put my name at the top to start out. And our first word is proof. And proof is a noun. It's a thing. And it is the evidence which establishes truth. And the synonym for that is clue, right? So if you think about solving a detective story, usually they have a spyglass, like Sherlock Holmes uses. All right, so that is proof. Our next word is genuine. Or genuine, depending on where you're from. And genuine is an adjective. It means authentic, or real. And actual was my synonym. So if something's genuine, it's usually real. I'm trying to think of a good example of that we could draw. So something that's genuine, let's see. If you were to, let's say you were to buy some tissues at the store. I'm just looking over at the Kleenex box. And nowadays, we call all tissues Kleenex. But sometimes you buy tissues that aren't Kleenex. And they're thin and cheap. So Kleenex has become the name for tissues, even though other companies make tissues. So you may or may not have genuine Kleenex tissues. You might have cheap tissues that are like sandpaper. Which sometimes that happens, and you rub your nose with it and you say, this is not Kleenex. So genuine just means that it's real or authentic. Sometimes you can go into the store, and if you walk down the cereal aisle, you see bags of cheap cereal and cheap sugar-coated cereal, and they mimic the boxes of cereal, but they're in bags and there's more of it in the bag. And so sometimes people buy that, but it's not genuine. They aren't genuine Fruit Loops or genuine Apple Jacks. They're knockoffs. They're fake versions, and they're cheaper. All right, the next word is local. Local is an adjective. And I'm trying to zoom all the way out. I might pull this up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. The camera's a little bit funky today. There we go. So local is characterized by a place. And the synonym for that is regional. So if we were to draw a map of Watsonville, we would have us right here. And we have Highway 1 that goes down here. Right, and then we have streets that come off of here. And so this is our local area. Right, so it's our area that we're familiar with. It's local. All right, our next word is insisted. Insisted means to be firm or resolute on a matter. And the synonym for that is, insisted is also a verb. Sorry about that. I left that off. And it's maintained is our synonym. So in the story, I'm laughing because the story makes me laugh. So in the story, the main character is going to be saying that the librarian insisted that she open the box in the library. And so I don't want to ruin the story for you. So when the box gets opened, there is a surprise. And it's not the good kind of surprise. It's not a good surprise at all. So in the apology letter that the main character writes, she's going to say, "You insisted that I open the box in the library." The word insisted is going to be used a lot during the apology letters that are part of the story. All right, we're going to flip, do the last four. Our next word is reference. Reference is a noun. And in this case, it is a book that directs one to another book. So in all libraries, there's a reference area, and reference books are never allowed to be checked out. So reference books might include dictionaries. There might be a reference area that has dictionaries, encyclopedias, an atlas that has maps in it. There might be big, huge books about animals. So reference books are books that are going to direct you to look at another book, right? They're going to teach you something that teaches you to go look for more information. And so they're never allowed to be checked out of the library. They always have to be kind of a permanent part of the library. A dictionary is pretty much the number one reference book that ends up being at libraries. And it kind of stays, dictionaries stay in the corner and they don't really allow you to check them out. I'm guessing there might be some in the back that they let you check out, but generally they don't let you check them out. So in our story, she's going to be looking at a reference book about snakes. And resource is the synonym for that. So she's going to be looking at a book and usually when you go to the library and you're looking at reference books, they're really thick. But they'd never, and it's the same with all libraries. It doesn't matter what library you went to. Let's make it a rattlesnake, though it looks like a worm. No matter what library you go to, they are not going to let you check out a reference book. The next word is apologize. Apologize means to offer an excuse for a fault. And confess is it's the synonym I found. And then it's a verb. So usually the thing that people say most when they are apologizing is, "I'm sorry." In this case, in this story, she says, "I am very truly sorry." And she says it over and over again, and you can tell that she's not sorry at all when she's saying it. "I am very truly sorry." All right. Our next word is slimy. Slimy is an adjective. And clammy was the synonym I found, and it means covered with slime. So usually, like if you go to the tide pools and you're looking at animals in the tide pools, draw some rocks in here, and you find animals that live in the tide pools, like a starfish. sometimes they're kind of slimy because there's lots of slime where they live. Okay, and our last word is fainted. Fainted is a verb. And I'm just laughing because in the story, the librarian faints, and it's kind of funny. So our synonym is swoon. Swoon's a great word. Swoon is one of those words that sounds like what it means. So if you faint, it means you lose consciousness, you pass out, you fall on the ground. And swoon just sounds like swoon, like you're falling down and passing out. So it means to lose consciousness. Temporarily. Sometimes you black out when you faint. When I faint, one time when I was in college, I fainted in the library. Like I hadn't eaten in a long time and I was really stressed and I got kind of dizzy and I was in the basement of the library and there was hardly anyone around and I was in the middle of bookshelves and I just fell down and everything turned white and I woke up and I was on the ground surrounded by bookshelves and I didn't know where I was. And I just remember everything turning white and then my legs just buckled and I fell down and I don't know how long I was laying there, probably for like 2 minutes, but it felt like I'd been there for about a half hour. And I was really embarrassed because I was hoping no one had seen me. So in the story, the librarian is, speaking of coincidences, he's in the library too and he's going to faint. So let's see. Fainted just means that you kind of hit the ground and you pass out. So trying to figure out how we could draw that without drawing stick people. Usually if you faint, sometimes if there's somebody around, they will like check to make sure you're okay because it's not normal to just see people fall on the ground. So usually you might have a bystander saying, "Are you okay?" And the person who's fainted kind of looks like they're a little bit like they might have right. So sometimes the person who's fainted kind of looks like they're not feeling so good, right? Those are dead people eyes, but we'll pretend that our person's going to wake up because it's temporary, right? You don't not wake up from fainting, right? It's just you pass out and then you usually wake up and revive. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed making this vocabulary diamond, and I hope that this helps you. And I really hope that you enjoyed the story because it's kind of a funny one, I think. Even thinking about it makes me laugh because the girl that is the main character is very saucy and spicy and kind of funny. She's kind of a jerk, but in a funny way. She's a jerk in a funny way. All right, so I hope you enjoy this story called Dear Mr. Winston, and I will talk to you later.